if you've been following this channel for a little while, you'll know that I absolutely love fresh bread, and I love to experiment and try new ways to make fresh bread. Now, today on Jay's World Kitchen, I'm going to show you a super simple 4-ingredient, absolutely easy, hardly any effort, crusty Dutch oven bread. Now, the wonderful thing about this recipe is while there's only 4 basic and easily acquired ingredients, you can add anything you want. We're going to start off in a bowl such as this, like a nice big bowl, and into that we're going to put 3 1/4 cups of flour. And this can be any flour. It does not have to be bread flour. You can use all-purpose flour for this recipe. So it really is whatever you have on hand. Into that we're going to add 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast and a 1/2 tablespoon of salt. Now, ideally, you don't want to use an iodized salt, so something like a table salt is not really ideal, but you do want a fine-grained salt. I like to use household salt because it's not iodized, but it is really handy, and it's what I use most often on the show. We're just going to pop that in. Very, very simple. Into that now we're going to add 1 1/2 cups of warm water, and you want to test that temperature and make sure that that warm water is about 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit and not much hotter than that, because you don't want to kill the yeast. And that's the basic ingredients. We're going to just stir that up. Now, we're not kneading this, we're not trying to make this smooth or elastic or anything like that. All we want to do is we want to make sure that all the ingredients are mixed together and that they're all equally wet, and that that moisture has gone through all of them about the same. And now once your dough is mixed together just like that, it's not going to look very pretty, and that's okay. We just want to make sure that it's nice and evenly mixed and wet, and that's it. Really very little effort, just a quick stir. And now we're going to cover it. I'm just using a plastic lid today that is, you know, it can allow some air out of there, but you can also obviously do some cling wrap and a towel over it, but you want to put that somewhere where it's nice and warm for at least 2 hours. Now, you can leave it for as long as 3, but we're going to leave it for about 2, and you want to make sure that it is risen to about double the size that it is now. And then we'll come back a little bit before that to prepare our oven. Now, half an hour before we are done our 2 hours of rising, we're going to take our Dutch oven, we're going to put it into the oven with the lid on and allow it to heat with the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And I like to do it for about half an hour to make sure it's really, really nice and hot. Now we're going to check how our dough has risen after 2 hours. And if you're enjoying this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help YouTube to recommend my content to viewers such as yourself. And as you can see, our dough has risen quite nicely. It's probably at least double its size, if not a little longer. And again, you can leave this for up to 3 hours if you'd like. Now we're going to take a piece of parchment, and just onto one side we're going to sprinkle some flour, just like that. And then we're very carefully going to take our dough and just coax it carefully out of our bowl onto the floured half of our paper. Now, as I mentioned before, this is quite a sticky dough, and that's okay, that's what we want. And what we're going to do is we're just going to use our spatula and just gently lift up the sides. What we're trying not to do is we really don't want to knead this. We would just want to try and form it into a little bit more of a ball by sort of pulling it from the bottom up to the top. That little bit of flour is definitely going to help us here. And once it's a little bit more rounded like that, we're just going to very carefully scoot it down into the center of our paper like that. Now obviously be careful because this is going to be very, very hot. We're going to carefully remove that lid, and if it's well seasoned you will get a bit of smoke. That's okay. And now we're going to pick up our dough just like that and pop it right into the center on that parchment paper like that. And again, please don't forget to wear gloves. The number of times is one forgets that, you know, this is really, really hot, and you pick it up and realize that it's also hot. We just want to put that lid right back on. And now we're going to bake that in our 450-degree Fahrenheit oven for 35 minutes. After those 35 minutes, we're going to remove the lid and allow it to bake for another 5 to 10 minutes just to really get that crust nice and crisp. If you're enjoying this content and you'd like to see more, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notifications so that you know when I post my next video. And I'd like to take a quick moment just to say thank you so much to all of my supporters on Patreon. Without their financial support, this channel would absolutely not be possible. If you'd like to find out more about Patreon and how you can help support this channel from as little as $5 a month, and find out what some of the benefits of being a Patreon supporter are, please click on the Patreon link down below in the comments section. So I took this out of the oven, I took it out of the Dutch oven and put it onto a cooling rack for about 5 or 10 minutes, but it is still quite warm. Of course, there's nothing that can replace that beautiful, rich aroma of freshly baked bread. This is quite a nice, got a nice crust on it. The color looks really good. I'm excited to cut into this, but I know it's going to be a little bit crusty, and it really is. Can you hear that? That's just incredible. Now, what I like about this is that the crumb is quite dense, so it's quite a heavier bread, but oh, that opening that up, that smell is even better. I'm going to cut off a little piece of this just to give it a taste. It's still quite warm, actually. It smells really, really good. I'm going to add a tiny bit of butter because, you know, can't have bread without really good butter. You absolutely cannot beat the flavor of fresh, homemade bread, especially bread like this that's still a little bit warm. That is just absolutely amazing. What I love about this is it's just inexpensive. It's easy to make. It takes really just not even 5 minutes of effort, and it's a pretty hands-off kind of recipe. This is absolutely fantastic. And if you tried this recipe, or you try a variation of this recipe, or you add something to this recipe, I would love to hear from you in the comment section below how this turned out for you. If you'd like to see some more of my content, please feel free to follow me on all of my social media, and those links are down below in the comments section as well. Now, if you would like to try some more of my bread recipes, you can click on this playlist right here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy eating.